This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Stella Karavas. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
It's fantastic here in Boston. We've had a little bit of snow, so it's a little bit magical, very cold, but nice and warm inside.
That's wonderful. Well, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
So I believe it's actually, I would have to say networking, and the person responsible would be Bobby Carlton. She's the founder of an incredible organization called Innovation Women, which is a speakers bureau for entrepreneurial, technical, and innovative women, providing them with visibility and an opportunity to demonstrate thought leadership. So I would have to say she's our connection.
Well, I've connected with some amazing people because of Bobby Carlton, and you're another, I'm guessing. So tell me, what do you do professionally?
Well, professionally, I am a CPA by trade, but I am a serial entrepreneur. I started one company and sold one. I'm on my second and third company, which I'm trying to raise money, which has to do with environmental monitoring. And we actually harvest metabolic energy from plants and trees, and we're trying to use it for food sustainability, water conservation, and natural resource preservation.
How do you do that, metabolic energy? Tell me more about that, please.
Well, it's plants produce a small amount of energy, and this bio energy is produced because it's trying to maintain a healthy pH. So if the soil is a pH of 4 and it's happy at a 6 pH, it produces this metabolic energy. And we look at this metabolic energy and we've noticed patterns in it, so we can determine if the plant requires water or whether it's maybe undergoing stress due to infestations or disease. And we're hoping to increase yield and help to conserve water through smart irrigation to feed this ever-growing planet.
Wow. I find the principles that's based on is marvelous because it's listening, and within a conversation for an individual to be able to assess what the other person is going through and then be able to help. You need to do the same thing, apply the same principles. Isn't that accurate?
Exactly. So that is, in essence, what we're doing is we're communicating with nature. I think something we should have done long ago, working symbiotically with nature, as opposed to forcing human or imposing our needs on nature.
How have you seen like certain plants exhibit more energy in a particular scenario? I'm guessing one where the pH is lower.
That's right. The greater the pH differential, the more energy, metabolic energy it produces to maintain its optimal pH. But, it is in these patterns that we're looking and seeing these correlations with fuel moisture, which is really the essence of the fire rating danger system in determining how fast things will also burn when you're talking about fire.
Wow. You know what's really cool though? You're talking about something that's like top notch, right? But the challenge of money to fund something like this, I'm guessing it's real, isn't it? And it's like you're balancing between the both places, right? Like outright amazing tech R&D, but then funding. Is that accurate as well?
You hit the nail on the head, because I don't think in the United States they're funding science anymore. And I think you're not seeing a lot of huge discoveries because we're not investing the money in science. It's more bottom line driven. And we've been trying to raise money for quite some time. And it's been extremely difficult because you have to do the research first. So we're all pitching in, and we all have skin in the game to do this research, and the timing has to be right, because at the time that we were trying to do this, it really it presented a problem to certain industries in terms of job security. So it has to be the right time also.
Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
I would have to say through my email, which is Stella@voltreepower.com. So
We could put that
that
in
would
the
be the
show
best one.
notes. Yeah, we could
Thank
definitely put
you.
that. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right.
Thank you.
Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please, Stella.
So consistently for the last 3 years, I think as we get older, we realize that the more we learn, the more we don't know. And I have this incurable curiosity. So I not only love to learn, but I love to solve problems. But it's also taught me the art of listening, which in my youth was something I wasn't very good at. So I've been trying consistently to listen more, observe more, learn more. And this, of course, shifts you from a black and white mentality to one where there are thousands of grays in the world.
How does that make you feel?
I think there's context to everything, and I think it provides more compassion, more understanding, more respect. And I think that's something that the world could use more of.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel pretty dumb that I wasted all this time in not learning this skill sooner.
Why would you suggest to someone that's listening that they learn the skill as soon as possible?
So I'm not sure that you can suggest anything unless somebody is ready to listen. I think you simply tell your story to help others not make the same mistakes and hope for impact.
There we go. Amazing audience, you're hearing it live from Stella Karavas. Ooh, she's sounding like a yogi right now. She's super wise. Stella, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Stella, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I would have to say that my earliest childhood memory was playing outside in the streets in a neighborhood full of other children. That's where we learned our social skills. We made our mistakes. We formed our first bonds outside the family.
How old do you think you were in this memory?
I would have to say maybe around 10. I don't have a good recollection of my childhood. Some people have very vivid childhood memories, but mine are usually sparked by pictures. And I'm consistently looking forward. So I only draw upon the past to make future decisions, and I try not to carry a lot of baggage with me.
Why do you think this memory is so clear then?
Because it was a happy one. It also represented freedom. I'm first generation Greek American and with very strict parents. So playing outside with friends was one of my first adventures without consistent supervision. It allowed me to find myself and create friendships independently.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
I would have to say I'm extremely independent, and I think that's carried all the way through in terms of my critical thinking and independent thinking. I would have to say that's the consistent thread.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
I'm sorry?
Sure. Let me say it slower. It's my Caribbean accent. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
I would love it.
I love the idea of just thinking about what's happening in the field with the plants that are operating in their natural capacity and how you have entered into that space to create a scenario where you're listening while playing is going on, if you would metaphorically journey along here with me, just like you were playing as a child. But then I'm guessing you learned so much more from being there amongst everyone, but maintaining the play. Not the disciplinarian model, but the play format.
I think you're spot on. I mean, we used to play in the forest and surrounded by trees, and we created all sorts of areas out there. We sat up on trees. We gazed upon the beauty of the forest. I think that you're absolutely right. I never really connected the two, but excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
So my favorite song, I loved Have You Never Been Mellow by Olivia Newton-John.
All right.
And the reason I liked it so much is that there was always a lot of pressure from immigrant parents. I was working at the age of 10. We never were allowed to really do nothing and to be, as the song would say, mellow. So, and that's something I've handled very differently with my children.
They get to be mellow, yeah?
Of course.
That's
You
wonderful.
need to be.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. You ready, Stella?
Okay.
Stella, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to? Hit me
Well,
yes or no.
Yes.
Are you married?
I was married off at 19. I was married for approximately 25 years. First divorce in the family. I would have to say that most of my skills are passed on to my children, who are now 28, 26, and 18.
Do you believe in God?
So that's a very loaded question, and I believe I'm questioning that more and more the older I get. I believe there could be a higher being, but I don't believe in the institution of the church. I believe that religion or the institution of the church has been used as an instrument of manipulation to initiate wars, to feed greed, and those who are power hungry. So although I do believe in a higher being, I'm not so sure I believe in the institution that was created by man.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do. I've chosen my family in later years, the friends that are true and the friends who are there when times are tough. I've christened them as my family. They say you can't choose your family, but I, in fact, have done so.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Absolutely not.
How about 3 hours a week?
I would have to say so. After a long project, I have been known to binge watch a Netflix series to give my brain a break.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours? Wow, hear that sigh. Oh my. Oh.
Well, Apple now tracks that for you. Your iPhone now tracks that, and it's a little astounding. I try not to be on my cell phone that much. However, as a CPA and an entrepreneur, it's very hard to get away from screen time. So unfortunately, yes, I spend way too much time in front of a screen.
Stella, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Stella Karavas, what would you say that is?
I have too many of them. I think the most important one is we need to learn patience again, as that's what technology has taken away, and we need to get back to our ability to think independently and critically again. I'd also say, as I did in the beginning, that we need to learn to exercise the 2-ear, 1-mouth approach in everything that we do. Most importantly, we need to exercise due diligence with regards to all decisions we make, most especially in the leaders we choose.
Stella, this was a great pleasure, I appreciate you coming through here, having a conversation with this guy from the Caribbean. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, I'd just like to thank you. This was a wonderful experience. a very pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed your accent thoroughly.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed yours as well. I have an accent. I'm joking. I'm joking. Stella, thank you for being what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.